Namaste and welcome to today's episode of Interview. Guest for today's evening is an amazing personality who is a nurse by profession and a wildlife photographer by passion. So without further wasting of time, let's welcome Mr. Jayas. Hello Mr. Jayas, welcome you to this session of interview. Thank you so much for this valuable time.
Thank you so much for inviting to this platform.
My pleasure. So I would like to know about yourself a little bit.
Myself Jayesh, I have been working as a nurse and I'm a passionate photographer. I do birding and little wildlife.
What is the most challenging situation faced by you in nursing profession?
Yeah, the most challenging situation which I faced in the nursing profession, making understand the patient about the real condition of their health. That is the most challenging. Some people can accept, and some of them are unable to accept when they are in a very serious ill. That is the most challenging part.
Okay. So, what are the responsibilities of a good nurse according to you?
He, the nurse, she he or she cannot never be an irresponsible person because we play with the life of the people. So each and everything we do in a professional way, that should be responsible. Otherwise that will end up in tragic situations.
It is said that nursing is an art and a science as well as a humanitarian service. So, what do you have to say in this context?
Yeah, nursing is a kind of art. It's taking care of the people. The important quality which a nurse need to be, he need to be a very good listener. He need to be very empathetic, polite, everything. But uh, you know when it's came across a lot of changes, a lot of challenges, we are facing a lot of difficulties. So if we could avoid in such a difficulty, that is the technical difficulty, that is not happening going to happen in the near future, but we're expecting that will happen very soon.
So, what about the schedule of your profession? Is it hectic?
Yeah, usually it's hectic. Sometimes we don't get even time to have tea or dinner. We'll have to continuously work like 8 to 12 hours in a single stretch. So you can imagine that how difficult it is that.
Yeah, you are really doing a great job, and we all should appreciate you for this, really.
Thank you, Pallavi.
So, coming to your patient, how long do you take to click the photograph of a bird or an animal?
Uh, I've been into the wildlife photography. I have been hardly, I can say it's like 3 years.
Okay.
So even before that, I was playing around with the camera, the street photography, and at that time it was a hobby for me. But when it turned to a passion, I just usually do the wildlife.
Okay. Do you wait for long hours to take a particular shot?
Yes, lot of time. You can see here from my Instagram page there is uh, a common white-throated kingfisher is sitting in front of the setting sun. I just wait when I reach into the field on the spot. The sun was very far for set, but uh, when I'm seeing a bird sitting in front of a piece of metal, on a piece of metal, uh, I just waited for more than 2 hours to 2 hours for the sun to come down.
Okay. So, do you believe wildlife photography is key to wildlife conservation?
Well, it's up to the person who is approaching the thing. Some of the wildlife photographers, they are an advocate for the conservation, whereas others, they just do it as a passion. But in my opinion, if you could incorporate two together, it is going to have a big impact.
would like to share with our audience from the field of wildlife photography?
When I went for my last birding yesterday, uh, in the we are actually living in the bank of Kabini River. Our place is just in between the two tiger reserve. One is Nagarhola and other one is uh, Bandipur Tiger Reserve. So a lot of wild animals passing through in front of my eyes. But when I met a huge tusker, he is not to be one of the biggest. He is not to have one of the biggest tusks in this area. So I just yesterday came across with him, and that was the first time I'm seeing him. I have seen many pictures of him by many renowned photographers, but I never seen him in front of my very eyes. That was a big experience to see him.
That means your area is in the abode of wildlife, right?
Yes, of course.
So, according to you, how has photography evolved over the years? Because as you can see, photography and photographers both are trending.
Yeah, photography and photographer, there are extremely two different context. The photography, there are people those who love the photography is coming, but for others, it's like a profession. So that's make it different.
Which image of yours are you most proud of and why?
Um, the proud moments, when you're getting the appreciation from the others. Uh, you know, uh, when I'm posting the Instagram, some of the
Yeah.
non photographers giving valuable feedback. So that's a proud one. So even that's much more than an award.
Yeah.
That's really make me proud.
Okay. So, what would be your piece of advice to the young aspirants who are getting into the field of wildlife photography?
Yeah, wildlife photography is not something suitable for everyone. You need to invest a lot of money on it. So, uh, for the young aspirants those who are like to start wildlife photography, they should come up with the equipments which they can afford. And no matter what equipment we have, but everything is based on the person who work behind the camera. That is the key.
Do gears matter in case of wildlife photography?
Yeah, of course, the gears are really matter, because the wildlife we can directly go and shoot in front of them, because we need to stay a safe distance from the wild from our subject. So the gears are really matter for that.
Okay. So, what type of gear are you currently using?
I'm using a Canon 6D and a Tamron 150 600 mm lens.
So, what do you think about the craze around birds photography?
Yeah, bird photography is really different from the animal photography. You need to have a lot of patience, and you need to give a lot of tries to get the image what you really need to shoot. You may have to visit multiple times, and you may not be able to see the same subject again and again. So you need to invest a lot of patience. You need to invest a lot of time. That's very important.
Okay. So, what drove you to wildlife photography? What is that interest that has driven you towards this field?
Yeah, well, I was working in abroad for an 8 years. When I came for my vacation, that time I had a 300 mm lens with me. So I just went to the place where I regularly go for birding now. So that was an evening time when a bird was sitting quite calm in front of me, and I just shoot. I thought that that's a good image for me. I don't know about others. Since that time, I had a passion with the wildlife photography.
So that's really nice to hear. Now let's talk about some of your picks. So the first one is the pattern of spotted deer, which you have recently posted. Then what means how did you get that idea to click that photo and post? You have posted that on Instagram.
Yeah, well, that picture when I was went for my last photography trip, uh, you know, uh, as I said earlier, my place is very close to the forest. So a lot of heads
Yeah.
of spotted deers was there. I was unable to isolate them for a good image. So I just thought that, oh, why can't you go for a different view? So I just showed it like a pattern wise.
Okay. The picture of peacock in the first rain was really incredible. How did you get that shot?
Thank you so much, Pallabi, for your valuable feedback. And that picture, in fact, I can say I showed it from my backyard. Really, uh, so, as I said, my place is. Uh, there are some bigger species of the birds are coming to as a visitors in our place. So when I was sitting in the backyard, uh, three of these people came and I just followed them to have a close shot.
Okay. It is also seen that you enjoy sunset sometime. So one of your pick is with a sunset and with a bird. So how did you get that composition? The sun with the bird.
Yeah, that as I mentioned earlier, that's one of the picture I like most in my gallery.
Yeah.
Uh, when I went for the regular birding, so the sun was, as I said earlier, on the top of my head, and I waited for more than 2 hours to get this shot because uh, in our places the sunsets are not quite often to get like the other places because it's a hilly area. So it was very challenging to get the subject on the background of the sun.
That was also really nice.
Thank you.
So how did you, yeah, my pleasure. So how did you get the click of a langur which was which was sitting firm?
Yeah, I can say that the language picture, that's a kind of the shot when I began my wildlife photography. Uh, I was traveling to Ooty. That time I took a break in the place called Mudumalai, that's also a tiger reserve area. So when I was resting in my car, this langur monkey was walking towards on the wall, walking towards me on the wall. So actually I shot it from the car.
Okay. So what is your thought on the post processing of images? Do you completely rely on post processing?
Yeah, the way of post processing that depend upon the person, but in my opinion, as you don't need to make any a lot of tweaks with your images because we may lose the natural look of that image. So just color correction and a basic correction that is very necessary in regards to the post production, but others can be avoided.
Okay. So Mr. Jayas, we are to the end of this session and thank you so much for your valuable time and valuable words. I
Thank
must say that you are truly an inspiring and amazing personality. It was great interacting with you.
thank you so much, Pallavi.
Welcome, Mr. Jayas. So, audience, this was Mr. Jayas from the field of nursing as well as wildlife photography. Hope you liked today's video. I will be back soon with a new one, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for informational interview and travel vlogs. So, goodbye for now.
Goodbye.